Hi there, my name's Frances Good and welcome to Good Yoga and Massage. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel where I teach you self-massage techniques, short yoga tutorials as well as mindful-based meditation. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you in towards a forearm stand. I'd recommend grabbing yourself at least one yoga brick as well as a yoga strap. Before I show you the forearm stand itself, I'm going to teach you through a few drills to get you there. What you've got to remember is not only do you need upper body strength in the arms and the shoulders, but you need strength in the back as well as the core. Also really useful to work on is your balance technique. Fantastic. So to start in your forearm balance, what I'd like everyone to start off by doing is just ensuring that we build the strength in the upper body. So slowly bring your forearms down on towards the mat and bring yourself in towards a forearm tabletop. Make sure you're not practicing your forearm positions with your hands together and instead you want your hands apart. If you find it quite hard to build the flexibility just to bring the hands apart, grab yourself one of your yoga bricks at the perfect size and you want to place it between your thumbs. You're sort of creating two L shapes. The palms come straight down on the mat and the brick helps keep their hands wide apart. If you also find it hard to build the elbows together, this is where your strap will come in useful. You can take your strap, you need to create it into quite a large loop. And with this loop, you can bring it not below the elbows, but just above them. Make sure the strap is tight enough that the elbows don't fan out, but not too tight that you feel like your chest is being restricted. From here, using the brick and the strap, you can give yourself the structure that in time we'll be able to work away from. So to start off, we'll just bring ourselves in towards a forearm forearm plank. In your forearm plank, make sure your bum isn't too high and your shoulders aren't far back. If anything, pull the shoulders too far forward and the bum a little bit low. If you feel like you're dumping in towards the chest and the chest is collapsing to the mat, the skill comes in pushing the forearms into the mat and slightly doming the upper back. So you want to be able to hold comfortably in your forearm plank for at least 10 breaths before starting to attempt your forearm balance. A fantastic way to build the strength up individually is to take one arm out of the loop and slowly turn yourself in towards a side plank. With your forearm side plank, you can slowly lower the bum and lift the bum, lower the bum, and lift the bum just to develop the mobility and the strength in the right shoulder. Obviously, doing this as well on the opposite side. Now, the reason I recommend doing these separately is that you will find that one arm is stronger than the other, and it will take responsibility in your forearm planks. Whilst it's totally possible to hold in your forearm plank with one arm stronger than the other, to find your forearm balance, you need to find equal strength. So bring yourself back into your forearm plank, and I would recommend practicing that routine of about 5 to 10 breaths in forearm plank, one side and then the other side about 5 times, and making sure you take a break after that. If you're interested in finding out which arm of yours is stronger than the other, I'll show you a technique to practice from your dolphin position. And in dolphin, you're getting yourself really quite close to your forearm balance. So your dolphin, again, if you're new to dolphin, use the straps, use the bricks. It will help hold you in place and it will enable you to focus on things like pushing out of the shoulders rather than clasping the elbows together. So you can lift the bum up. It's a bit like a downward facing dog. If it's too strong, you walk your feet further backwards. If it's just right, you hold in the position you were in. And if you feel like you could have got a bit further, rather than walking in with straight legs, bend your knees and just walk the knees as close in as possible. That way the feet will come closer. And in time, you work on the lifting motion out of the bum. And as you can see, we're aiming to get the bum above the shoulders. As before, I'd hold your forearm balance for about 5 to 10 breaths. And you want to be feeling quite strong in this position. If again, just like in your forearm plank, you feel like the chest is lowering, the head is sinking to the mat, you really need to learn to push out of your elbows, almost trying to get a cat sensation in the upper back, and then come down. To work out which arm is stronger than the other, remove your strap, okay? And what we're going to aim to do is to move from our forearm balance, from our dolphin pose, in towards our downward facing dog, lifting both elbows equally. Now start off, without overthinking it, come in towards your dolphin and slowly lift up. Now notice, I naturally lift my left arm first and then push up with my right arm. So the arm you lead with tends to be the stronger arm, and I'm left-handed, so that's not surprising. So the arm you push up with first is your stronger arm. So that way you know that I need to work more strength in my right shoulder and in my right arm. But I can really start to balance that by leaning back in towards my downward facing dog with my right arm. And as I push my right arm into the mat, my left elbow wants to help out, and I can transition from dolphin pose in towards downward facing dog with both elbows lifting at the same time. You can start to marry all of this together to build that mobility, to build the strength, and also engage your core by creating a little fun sequence. So in this sequence, pop your forearms down onto the mat, and in fact just remove the brick out of the way. So you start off with the forearms into the mat. You push into your weaker arm so that both arms lift at the same time, and you pull straight forward and down into your hover. Elbows pull into the waist, push back, elbows straight down, dolphin. Push in towards the hands, pull forwards, and hover. Push fingers into the mat, push up, and dolphin, and I would repeat that routine about 3 to 5 times, dropping into a child's pose to take a break. So with the positions I've taught so far, we've had forearm plank, side planks on both sides, dolphins, in your dolphin learning to transition in towards your downward facing dog, and your drill of pulling forward to your hover, back in towards your dolphin, and back in towards your hover. So we've started to build the mobility as well as core control. There's one more exercise I like to include though, and this can be quite a challenging one. The reason I like to include it is because in your dolphin, you need to be able to draw the elbows together and feel the pec switch on. That transitions your dolphin up in towards your forearm balance. So grab yourself a brick. This is a perfect size, okay? Pop your brick down on towards your mat. And what I'm going to do is I'll turn myself forward, in fact, so you can see what happens, is I'm going to place the brick between my forearms like so. And I pop them down. You then lift your bum up. Oops, I'm falling into a floorboard crack. You lift your bum up. Now, as you push in towards the hand, you want to learn to lift the brick up and be able to place the brick down. So the elbows really draw together. You pull the belly button in and you lift the brick up and you place the brick down. That way you know the arms are working together, the strength is starting to equal in both arms, and you're getting that control to lift up. Fantastic. Let's think about coming in towards our forearm balance. I know the temptation with your forearm balance is going to turn yourself around and face yourself against the wall. And I can completely understand that fear of falling over backwards, okay? But hopefully if you're coming in towards a forearm balance, you first of all feel comfortable in a wheel. So if you were to fall backwards, it wouldn't be the worst case scenario. But I think practicing it against the wall gives you a sort of a expectation that there's always going to be something to catch you. So when you do start to try and do it lengthways along the mat, it starts to feel really hard. But then you sort of say, well, how on earth am I ever going to go from dolphin up in towards the forearm balance, okay? So I'm going to take you through a few drills, all right? We'll start off though with our dolphin, and please do feel free to grab yourself a brick and to use the strap, okay? And you'll learn to use some and not the other, so you might use both brick and strap, you might use neither, but I always recommend to start off with using one. And my top recommendation would be to be using the brick between the hands. That way it's not as you're holding your muscles together, it's more of a mental reminder that your hands don't want to drift in. So pop the hands down onto the mat and lift the butt.
Now it's important to remember that the head doesn't want to touch the mat. It doesn't want to not touch the mat by craning your chin between your hands. It wants to feel happy to be quite light, quite heavy and not touch the mat. Start off in your dolphin and just slowly walk the feet closer, get the bum a bit higher. And in time, lift one leg up. Take a gentle bend in the knee that's still down. So for me, I've lifted my left leg and I'm bending my right knee. That way, as I bend my right knee, I can just focus on firing the left leg higher to get it more above the buttocks. Don't think about even jumping up at that point. Point it back down and lift the right leg up. Bend your left knee. Get right leg really extended behind the body and then squeeze the buttocks. Drive it up. I'm pushing out of my forearms to keep the chest and head away from the mat and then pop right foot back down. So your first drill to start lifting up is just getting the confidence with having the weight starting to come into the hands. At this point, I would use a wall, but not to kick in towards it, but to lift away from it. What I'm going to do is pull my mat slightly further away from the wall, and I can use my mat now to start to bring my feet against it. So I'm going to take exactly the same position. Use your grip, so use the thing you feel safe with. When you're comfortable in your forearm balance, then we'll remove the grip, then we'll remove the strap. But for now, get the hands down, forearms down, and you want to be able to get yourself into a dolphin with your feet on the wall. So you lift the bum up, place one foot on the wall, take your time to lift the other. It will start off with being quite low and the knees bending. That's fine, you're just building your confidence. In time though, you want to feel confident to straighten the legs and lift the bum. You're really pushing out of the arms, and if you wish, you can lift up through one leg, continuing to gaze between the hands. And in time, I would start off by just tiptoeing the opposite leg away from the wall, and it's just coming lightly. Lower one foot back down and come out. Always do this incrementally. Don't try and do it at the same time, and that way you can change a little bit. So I've realized my mat is still a little bit close to the wall because I can feel it a little bit too uncomfortably in my lower back. So I'm just going to draw my mat even further away. So always adapt, always change, and don't try and do too much in one go. Build up some stamina, okay? So I'm going to do exactly the same. Take my grip back, pop it on towards the mat. And what's really important, I'm sorry, I haven't mentioned this yet. When your forearms come into the mat, there's wiggle room, right? Because we have skin, and we can wiggle our skin. You need to take the slack out of the skin. So you start off by underestimating how close the arms need to be together, or overestimating, I can never work that out, and push out to release the slack. So forearms come down, fingertips, I'm not holding onto the brick like this, they're these L shapes, they're just in the crooks of the thumbs. Forearms come down and I take the slack out, okay? So take that slack out so there's no wiggle room. Lift back up, place the feet on the wall, and start to feel more confident to straighten the legs. You can lift up through one leg and just start playing with your balance. So it's like those weighing scales where you put a bag of sugar on one side and the weight's on the other, and you're slowly equaling that out. And in time, you can squeeze the bum and just start to lift the opposite leg away. Just use your wall to play with balance, okay? You can swap the legs and lift the opposite leg up. Continue to play with balance. Feel yourself drive out of the arms and pop both feet back down. So we're just using the wall to play with balance, coming forwards and backwards. I then want you to bring the forearm balance back into your regular direction and not use your wall. Fantastic. Continue to use bricks, continue to use straps, there's no harm in using it. And we're going to come back towards those sort of dolphin drills. Just move my mat back so you can see me in the camera. Fantastic. So forearms come down, take the slack out and lift up. So take your time and lift, kicking the curtain. Take your time, here we go. Lift one leg. As you lift one leg, we're going to do something which I call scissor drills. So I'll just show you what it looks like. You're not aiming to hold, you're aiming to kick up and swap. So don't worry about how high the legs go. Just hold onto the brick, kick up and swap. So it's just the swapping motion, okay? Then you find your dolphin pose, lift up, kick up, maybe you hold for a moment,
but you kick the leg. So I didn't just hold with one leg and come straight back down. I lifted the other leg up to match, okay?
So again, push in, lift your leg, kick up, and always switch. Even if you think, oh, I'm so nearly there, continue with that switching so that you're confident that you can kick up time and time and time again. And I'm not flipping over. That way, if I do flip over, I think, hey, that was 1 time out of 10 and I'm not flipping over the other times. In time, you start to lift up the bum and you start to squeeze the left buttocks. The control comes from me squeezing my leg that's lifted. I kick, oops, I hold, engage the core, squeeze the buttocks, and then take your time to come one leg down and then the next. So what I would say when you're coming in towards your forearm balance, don't make that final position be your goal. Think about, right, today I'm working on pushing into the chest. Today I'm working into engaging the core. Today I'm working in squeezing the bum. And the more you do that, the more confident you become. Always, when you feel like you've done enough, my suggestion would be do one more, okay? And always be open to the fact that that one more may not be as good as the others, but it's just a nice way to remind yourself that I actually could give it one last go. And who knows, it might be that last one where you manage it. So pull the belly button in, lift. Whoops, there I go, out of it. Lift, hold, split the legs, then bring the legs together, then one leg, and then the next. Fantastic. So important things to remember, learn to use your bricks, learn to use your straps. Engage the core, practice with the wall, but not kicking back in towards it, drawing away from it. Get confident with scissoring, and then down. And lastly, those hands are a really important part of your forearm balance. If you're just pushing into the elbows, you get achy elbows, and that's when you flop over on towards your back. So as ever, guys, I hope you found that useful. I hope you found it interesting. Please pop any comments below. I'm happy to make a slightly longer video for those of you who are feeling a bit more advanced in your forearm balances. We could take out the beginning part of the drills. But it's really important, no matter where you are on that journey in your forearm balance, you come back to your dolphins, you come back to your forearm planks, and you enjoy yourself. So as ever, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and see you again soon.